the world stage, where big egos collide. Let's face it, folks, international politics is basically a reality show. It's a high-stakes game where the players are not just competing for ratings, but for the future of their countries, and sometimes, the world. We've got drama, we've got intrigue, and sometimes, we have leaders acting like they're on Twitter, even when they're not. The lines between diplomacy and social media antics have never been blurrier. Remember when Trump was tweeting up a storm? Pepperidge Farm remembers. His tweets were not just messages, they were events, each one capable of shifting the political landscape in an instant. And in the world of international relations, those tweets can have real-world consequences. A single tweet could spark a diplomatic crisis, or even alter the course of international negotiations. One minute you're arguing about who has the bigger button, and the next minute, you're threatening to cut off funding to an entire country. The stakes are incredibly high, and the margin for error is razor thin. It's enough to make your head spin. The rapid pace of events and the constant barrage of information can leave even the most seasoned political analysts scrambling to keep up. The stage was set for one such showdown back when Donald Trump was holding court in the White House. His tenure was marked by a series of high-profile confrontations and unexpected alliances. On one side, we had Trump, the self-proclaimed master negotiator, ready to throw his weight around on the world stage. His approach was unconventional, to say the least, often catching both allies and adversaries off guard. On the other side, we had Cyril Ramaphosa, the recently elected president of South Africa, trying to navigate the choppy waters of global politics. Ramaphosa was no stranger to political maneuvering, but dealing with Trump was a different ballgame altogether. Little did he know, he was about to get a crash course in Trump's unique brand of diplomacy. It was a baptism by fire, with the eyes of the world watching every move. Now Trump had a bit of a reputation for making waves on Twitter. His social media presence was a force unto itself, often overshadowing traditional diplomatic channels. He'd fire off insults, threats, and pronouncements with the casual air of someone ordering a Diet Coke. Each tweet was a calculated move, designed to provoke a reaction and shift the narrative. So, when he set his sights on South Africa, the world held its breath, waiting to see what would unfold. The stakes were high, and the potential for fallout was enormous. It was a moment that would test the mettle of both leaders and shape the future of their respective nations. Trump's Twitter diplomacy funding cut edition. The drama began, as it often did in the Trump era, with a tweet. A single tweet that would set off a chain reaction, reverberating across continents and stirring up a storm of controversy. In 2018, Trump took to his favorite platform to express his displeasure with South Africa's land reform policy. This wasn't just any tweet, it was a tweet that would capture the world's attention and spark intense debate. He accused the South African government of seizing land from white farmers without compensation, a claim that was widely disputed but nonetheless gained traction among his followers. The tweet painted a picture of chaos and injustice, fueling the fires of division. Now, land reform is a complex and sensitive issue in South Africa, with roots that run deep into the country's history of apartheid. The legacy of apartheid has left deep scars, and land reform is seen as a necessary step towards healing and justice. But Trump, never one to let facts get in the way of a good tweet storm, decided to simplify things by framing it as a racial issue. His tweet ignored the nuances and complexities, reducing a multifaceted issue to a simplistic narrative. He even went so far as to claim that there were large-scale killings of farmers taking place, a statement that was categorically false. This claim was debunked by numerous fact-checkers, but the damage was already done. But Trump wasn't done there. He wasn't content with simply spreading misinformation, he decided to escalate the situation further. Not content with simply spreading misinformation, he decided to up the ante by threatening to cut funding to South Africa. This was a bold move, one that would have significant implications for both countries. Yes, you heard that right. The leader of the free world was using foreign aid as a bargaining chip in a Twitter spat. This was unprecedented, a clear departure from traditional diplomatic norms. The threat sent shockwaves through South Africa and beyond. It wasn't just the potential loss of funding that was concerning, it was the way in which Trump was using his power to bully another country into submission. It wasn't just the potential loss of funding that was concerning, it was the way in which Trump was using his power to bully another country into submission. This was a clear example of how Trump's America First policy often translated to America First, and everyone else can just deal with it. It was a clear example of how Trump's America First policy often translated to America First, and everyone else can just deal with it. The world watched as Trump wielded his Twitter account like a weapon, reshaping international relations with every keystroke. Ramaphosa's clapback dignity over dollars. Now, Cyril Ramaphosa is not one to back down from a challenge. As the president of South Africa, he has faced numerous obstacles and adversaries, both domestically and internationally. His resilience and determination have been key factors in his political journey. He's a seasoned politician with a long history of fighting for social justice. From his early days as a trade union leader to his pivotal role in the anti-apartheid movement, Ramaphosa has always been at the forefront of the struggle for equality and human rights. He's also a very eloquent speaker, known for his ability to command a room with his words. Whether addressing a local community or speaking on the global stage at the United Nations, Ramaphosa's speeches are always impactful and thought-provoking. So, when it came time to respond to Trump's threats, Ramaphosa didn't mince words. He knew that his response would be scrutinized not just by his fellow South Africans, but by the international community as well. In a televised address to the nation, Ramaphosa delivered a masterclass in diplomacy. He carefully chose his words to convey strength and resolve, while also emphasizing the importance of unity and peace. He acknowledged the complexities of the land reform issue, emphasizing the need for a peaceful and equitable solution. Ramaphosa highlighted the historical injustices that had led to the current situation and stressed the importance of addressing these issues in a fair and just manner. He also condemned Trump's inflammatory rhetoric, pointing out that it was based on falsehoods and was only serving to divide people. Ramaphosa made it clear that such divisive tactics had no place in the modern world, and that South Africa would not be swayed by them. But perhaps the most powerful moment came when Ramaphosa addressed Trump's threat to cut funding. He spoke with conviction, making it clear that South Africa's dignity and sovereignty were not for sale. He made it clear that South Africa would not be bullied by the United States or any other country. Ramaphosa's message was unequivocal. South Africa would chart its own course based on its own values and principles. He said that South Africa would continue to pursue its own path, even if it meant doing so without American assistance. This was a bold statement, but one that resonated deeply with many South Africans who valued their country's independence and self-determination. Ramaphosa's words resonated not just in South Africa but around the world. International media picked up on his speech and global leaders took note of his firm stance. It was a moment that showcased Ramaphosa's leadership on the world stage. Here was a leader who was willing to stand up to a bully, even if that bully happened to be the most powerful man in the world. Ramaphosa's defiance was a source of pride for many South Africans, who saw in him a reflection of their own resilience and strength. He showed that dignity and sovereignty were not things that could be bought or sold, even for millions of dollars in aid. Ramaphosa's stance was a powerful reminder that some values are worth more than money, and that true leadership means standing up for what is right, no matter the cost. Echoes of the past, a history of political arm twisting.